The whole country was excited at the news that the king was choosing a new queen. Beautifully dressed young women flocked to the palace. There was an Israeli official named Mordecai at the palace who had a cousin named Esther. Esther was a beautiful young woman who Mordecai had taken care of as if his own daughter ever since her parents had passed away.
Esther, the king seeks a new queen. You are more beautiful than any other young woman. Without a doubt, the king will be more than pleased with you. But you must not reveal your heritage. You must not tell anyone that you are from Israel. Do you understand?
Come before the king one at a time.
Young women, dressed beautifully, stood before the king. Suddenly, the king's eyes lit up.
Ah, what a lovely and beautiful young lady.
Wow! Here's the new queen!
Esther pleased the king and won his favor, and so the king placed a crown of jewels on her head. Esther was now the new queen. The king appointed a man named Haman to be his prime minister.
Everyone, should bow down before Haman.
Hail Haman!
Haman was pleased when he saw the people bow down to him.
Indeed, I, Haman, am great. There is no one else in this country who is greater servant than I.
But there was one person who did not bow down to Haman. That person was Mordecai, who had taken care of Queen Esther when she was young. Mordecai only bowed down to God. Haman was extremely angry.
What? Who dares not to bow down to me? Mordecai, what a scoundrel! How shall I punish him?
Haman came to learn that Mordecai was a man of God from Israel, and so he concocted a plan.
Your Majesty, strange people living in our country do not keep the law of the king.
What? Who are these people?
They will bring you harm, Your Majesty, and so they must be killed.
Beware. Do as you say.
Haman made an announcement in the name of the king to the whole country.
You must kill those Israelites living in our country and take their property from them.
The Israelites were so shocked that they did not eat. Instead, they tore their clothes and wailed bitterly. Mordecai also sat before the palace doors and wept loudly.
Go to Mordecai and find out why the people of Israel are wailing so bitterly.
Yes, Your Majesty. Your Majesty! Your Majesty! Something terrible has happened.
What has happened?
The people of Israel are to be killed. Mordecai has asked you to speak to the king to save the Israelites.
What?
Queen Esther was shocked, but Esther was too afraid to undo the king's order. Worried, she sent her maid again out to Mordecai.
Tell her that she was called to be queen for difficult times like this.
The maid repeated to Esther what Mordecai had said.
Tell the people of Israel to fast and pray for me for 3 days. I will also fast and pray. When this is done, I'll go to the king even though it is against the law. If I perish, I perish.
3 days later, Queen Esther stood before the king. The king was very pleased to meet her.
Oh, Esther, what is it? If you ask for it, I will give you half of this land.
Your Majesty, I have prepared a banquet for you and Haman.
At the queen's invitation, Haman became even more arrogant. The king felt better at Esther's feast and asked the queen her wish. Esther answered the king.
Your Majesty, please save me and my people.
What? Who is trying to kill you?
It is he, Haman.
What? No, that is ridiculous, Your Majesty. Queen Esther, please save me. My king.
Is Haman tormenting the queen? How arrogant of him!
In the end, Haman was impaled on the pole which he had set up for Mordecai. Realizing that Mordecai had saved his life a long time ago, the king appointed Mordecai to be the new prime minister. Queen Esther made another request of the king.
Let an order be written overruling the order to kill all the people of Israel.
The king did everything Esther wanted, and so not a single Israelite died. In this way, Esther, who became king, prayed to God and saved all the people of Israel.